I love me some good GMA in the morning. Robin, George, Michael, and GMA. Now that's how you start your day.
Good morning, America.
Yep, bring your friends.
This is home. ABC Alaska.
We have some great news.
Ooh, do I get more treats?
No, but you can treat yourself to truly unlimited internet without worrying about data caps or throttling for as little as $64.99 per month when you bundle it with DirecTV Stream. That means more streaming, more internet, and more savings.
Well, I can dig that.
Yeah, I can dig that too for as little as $64.99 per month. Learn more at alaskacommunications.com/offer. Alaska Communications. Expect more.
How much has Kelly Chewbacca cost you? Chewbacca charged Alaska taxpayers $81,000 to move her family from D.C. to Anchorage, then quit without repaying a dime. Yet Chewbacca got paid $190,000, over $36,000 more than her predecessors. And according to a government inspector general, Chewbacca likely committed fraud while working in Washington, charging taxpayers over $35,000 for work she didn't do. Kelly Chewbacca makes government service pay for herself. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This is home. Your Alaska link starts right now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Trill Gates. Difficult decisions will have to be made. That's what the Anchorage School District Superintendent had to say regarding the district's massive budget deficit. Right now, there's a $68 million hole in the budget. During this morning's meeting, the district's chief financial officer outlined various ways to cut into that deficit. At the top of the list, potential school closures. It wasn't specified which schools or how many schools could be on the chopping block. Officials say more details can be expected on that in the coming weeks. Another option on the table is cutting the gifted program Ignite. The school board has until February 7th to weigh its options and ultimately pass a budget in Anchorage. Also in Anchorage, the city has a new library director. Mayor Dave Bronson announced today Virginia McClure will take on the role. McClure worked in the Anchorage Public Library before as a manager of the Mountain View branch and as the assistant director for public services. The mayor believes McClure has the experience and compassion required for the role, which she will officially assume next month. A special meeting is now planned for Sunday regarding emergency homeless shelters in Anchorage. A task force has proposed several locations, including the old Golden Lion Hotel and the Sullivan Arena. The mayor is urging the public to speak out at this special meeting. It's set for 2 p.m. on Sunday at the Lusac Library in Anchorage. What's called the government-to-government tribal consultation wrapped up today in Anchorage. Your Alaska Link's LaShawn Donaldson was there and explains what the tribal consultation, sponsored by the Department of Justice, is all about.
Tribal leaders and community members gathered at the Captain Cook Hotel, which is directly behind me, and they got together to talk about problems like missing Indigenous women. And it's the first time the government-to-government consultation is held right here in Anchorage. This was the 17th annual government-to-government consultation. The event gives tribes and federal agencies a chance to talk to each other face-to-face. This year's topic, violence against Indigenous women.
Crucial that we hear directly from Indigenous leaders about what's most needed in the community. Right? What are the public safety needs? What are the victim services needs? And then we in the federal government can do our best to respond, ensuring that challenges in tribal communities are met with tribal solutions.
A recent report showed that Alaska has the highest rate of women killed by men for the 7th year in a row.
And we've heard from so many tribal leaders the incredible anguish of having relatives missing and not knowing what has happened. So working to improve federal responses is essential. Hearing from tribal leaders helps us do that.
The Alaska Native Justice Center reports 85% of Alaska Native women will experience domestic violence in their lifetimes.
We want to break that cycle. We need the funding in order to capitalize on ensuring that our Native women are protected and that we break that cycle of repeated domestic violence in our community.
One of the issues, a lack of law enforcement.
Our villages do not have law enforcement. We have the troopers that are stationed in the village, but they don't serve only our village.
Violence against women hits home for some of these tribal leaders.
Has been many, statistics that has been going on throughout Alaska for many women, and one of my relatives has been one of those statistics.
One member believes a big issue is a lack of respect.
The media and, everything around you encourages for the erasure of who you are. It's very easy to perpetrate against somebody that you don't believe is a human being.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence in Alaska, you can call the Alaska Network of Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault at 907-586-3650. LaShawn Donaldson, your Alaska Link.
Now to the recovery underway after that historic storm in western Alaska. Governor Mike Dunleavy says with winter fast approaching, it's a race against time. The governor spent this week in communities hardest hit by Typhoon Merbok. Those include Bethel, Hooper Bay, Scammon Bay, Nome, and Golovin. Governor Dunleavy said the folks who live there are tough people, even in the face of all the destruction.
There's definitely damage out there. There's definitely impacts that have disrupted lives. The loss of the roads, the loss of boats, the loss of the hunting season, fishing season for some is going to be problematic, but we're there to step in to try and help.
If you were impacted by the typhoon, the Red Cross is standing by to help however they can. Just call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Now let's go to meteorologist Alyssa Triplett with a first look at weather conditions around the state. And Alyssa, so much rain. It's a good thing that most Alaskans have extra tufts in their closet.
And Trill, it looks like much of the region is going to want to keep that rain gear handy as the rainy weather pattern persists. Now, this is the accumulated precipitation over the last 7 days. You can really see along that northern portion of the panhandle, but note also some of those higher reflectivities is that higher elevation snowfall that is starting to get a decent snowpack, especially with some of these drearier conditions in those higher elevations, keeping some of that snowpack around. But looking at the anticipated here over the next 2 days, definitely going to be keeping an eye on that southeastern portions of Alaska into the panhandle, but we'll see some drier conditions try to work in at times across the Anchorage Bowl as well as for the interior. However, definitely we'll see that the Dewey's Marine forecast will continue to include those high impacts of heavy rain, reduced visibility, as well as those stronger winds, especially across the panhandle. We will continue to keep an eye on those high impacts. But with some of this dreary weather, it's definitely been pulling those temperatures back. But Trill, we'll take a look at our local forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
The Biden administration is putting up $500 million to provide internet access to folks in rural communities, and that includes some communities right here in Alaska. Combined, Alaska Telephone Company and Arctic Slope Telephone are getting more than $60 million in grant money. Haines, Skagway, and North Slope are just a few of the communities that stand to benefit from the projects planned. While in Washington last week, I spoke with Alaska's senior U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski. She said it's important but not easy to get Alaskans connected to internet.
It takes a lot to connect Alaskans, and it's going to have to come about in a diversity of ways. We would love to have all the fiber everywhere, but that's not going to happen for a long time.
Alaska is one of 20 states to benefit from these federal grants aimed at providing access to internet. Students at Huffman Elementary School in Anchorage got their hands dirty today. Your Alaska Link's Ian Stewart reports on the yearly potato harvest.
The weather held out for the students at Huffman Elementary as the students got to do some digging. The event that started about 20 years ago starts by picking up these potatoes. These potatoes and carrots end up being donated to Beans Cafe and can provide up to 2,000 pounds of potatoes and carrots. Gail Heffler has been here since it started and has always been committed to helping the students give back.
Ever since we first started with our first beds, we decided to donate the produce to Beans Cafe. So they either come out here or we drive the produce in.
Lisa Souter with Beans Cafe expresses how grateful they are for the hard work and the food provided.
It doesn't ever go to waste. We use them in so many ways. We put them in soups, we put them with breakfast items, use them in a million different ways. Potato salad as a side, so many things you can do with this wonderful harvest.
She also loves teaching the kids about how important the whole event is.
So I love to be able to come out, talk to the kids, tell them how important this is and how many meals this will make for people who may not otherwise have a meal in our community.
Steve Carroll loves the event for the fun and for what the students can learn from it.
I hope they have the power of being a giver, that our communities can only be healthy if we're giving back to other people. And so that's my main hope for the students, is they learn the power of being a giver.
And in the end, it's just a fun time for the kids.
Just totally fun. You're squealing with little kids all day harvesting potatoes. I mean, how can you beat it?
The yearly event started in 2004 and has been going on stronger than ever, with many years planned ahead. Ian Stewart, your Alaska Link.
For the first time in more than 900 days, the Seawolves are back on the ice. The University of Alaska Anchorage hockey team opened its season tonight against Simon Fraser. The team was on the chopping block last year when the school tried to cut costs, but the Seawolves saved themselves by raising $3 million. And it's a chance for you to enjoy Anchorage's famous moose-shaped trail system. The virtual Moose Loop race kicks off today. Participants can sign up online for one of 4 different races, and if you want to walk or bike, that's fine. You also have until next Friday to get it done. All the money raised from the Moose Loop race supports parks and trails in Anchorage. Coming up, laying out the relationship between marijuana use and youth mental health. Scott Beadle has that story and more. Plus, Alyssa Triplett will be in with a look at your full weather forecast. But first, it's time for today's Hometown Hero.
Hometown Heroes, brought to you by Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Center.
Piggybacking on what Governor Dunleavy mentioned on his Facebook page, we want to add our thanks for every Alaskan who stepped in to help their neighbors in a time of need. From individuals to many organizations, thank you everyone who helped protect lives before, during, and after the storm. This shows what a great state we live in, and all who have helped our hometown heroes.
Tonight's marine forecast is brought to you by Dewey's Cook Inlet Marine.
Hey, Alaskans, this fall, plan to be your own captain. Come to Dewey's Cook Inlet, Alaska's largest marine dealer. We carry the top-selling boats in Alaska. Hughescraft, Duckworth, G3, Sea Ark, Lund, and RH boats, all powered by reliable, fuel-efficient Yamaha outboards. Dewey quality products and top-notch service year-round. Dewey's Cook Inlet, your one-stop marine store, corner of 76th and King Street.
You're watching Alaska's Good News Network.
Our lead story, Rams, and more Rams appearing every day in Anchorage. Not those Rams, these Rams.
We've got new Ram Warlock starting at just $46,275. New Tradesman starting at just $42,710. Ram is J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality. And we've got new Grand Cherokee L at just $48,100. Come get yours at Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's Ram Power Days and Jeep Adventure Days. See us on East 5th.
The 2 must-haves in every South Central home: heat and hot water, provided reliably and efficiently. That's why you call Living Waters Plumbing and Mechanical. Hidden away is the most important part of your home, the boiler or furnace. You'll want our expert maintenance done now, before something goes wrong. And when the time comes to install a new system, we'll do it right. From emergency repairs to remodels, the Living Waters crew have the best training in the business. From the air you breathe to the water you need, Living Waters has you covered.
What makes a legacy? It takes more than bravado, more than your attitude, or the face you show to the world. Your legacy is your story, the place you carved for yourself in history, and who you helped along the way. The actions you take to earn it. The things you do even when the sun isn't around to see them. Our legacy, helping you build yours. We are Fisher Nation.
Find all your Fisher snow and ice control equipment at Quality Equipment Sales and Service.
Stay warm and save at Neighbors Windows and Doors. Get Neighbors high-performance insulated glass, manufactured right here in Anchorage. Plus, take $100 off every insulated glass unit with installation. Visit NeighborsWindowsandDoors.com.
This is home, ABC Alaska. Now, your Alaska Link weather for Anchorage and South Central.
A wet weather pattern persists as these umbrellas seem to be getting some good use. Now, over the last 5 days, we've seen about an inch of rainfall into Anchorage, and heavy rain has been noted definitely across the Prince William Sound as we had that flood watch across southeastern portions of Alaska earlier this week. Now, we've started to bring in some more showery weather, but we'll note that either way, as we see this rainy weather pattern, definitely have dragged those temperatures down a bit. 48 was our high yesterday, and precipitation was just under about 1/10 of an inch. So over on that, bringing downpours to the Mat-Su Valley as well as the Anchorage Bowl, but it does persist to stay pretty dreary and rainy as we brought in some heavy rainfall this morning. Now, our total for this month is up to almost 4 inches of rainfall as we significantly stay above average and are continually staying on that track of potentially seeing one of the wettest years on record. So we'll keep an eye on those numbers, especially over the weekend, as we will still see some times of heavy rain and not much breaks in this cloud cover. We'll look at a low 42 degrees as heavy rain continues overnight. We'll see that widespread cloud covers in place, and then we'll have intermittent precipitation. So still more at times we'll see day to day that we'll maybe just see a few hundredths of an inch of precipitation, but you're not going to get much break from this gloominess, some of these low-lying cloud cover at times just making it feel dreary. Now, some of this low-lying cloud cover and these gloomy conditions, though, is allowing for higher elevation snowfall to persist and hold on as well. Sometimes we see some melting occur, especially with still at times some of those warmer afternoons. But also note with the cooler conditions and that cloud cover, there may be some of that wet snowfall on some of those crossroads. So do stay wary of some slick conditions. It's that time of the year to start to practice those winter driving skills. But with little to no sunshine in store, it looks like that is going to persist into next week with the continuous wet weather. And speaking on some of that snow, we are looking at the snow forecast to continue to give us some of that higher elevation snowfall. So some good news there to start to look at some of those wintry conditions. Now, it is that time of the year where we're looking at both of these graphics. It gets a little bit deceiving at times because you see some of those higher reflectivities, but note some of that is that snowfall. But still, a few quarters of an inch up to a few inches from the Kenai Peninsula into the Mat-Su Valley will be possible over the weekend. Definitely more showery at times here throughout the day on Saturday. Definitely our more impactful areas will be our coastal regions, Prince William Sound, even through the Cook Inlet. Doesn't look to be too breezy through the weekend, but still just looking on that rainy weather pattern. Our daylight hours for Saturday will bring a sunrise at 7:49 in the morning and then 7:53 for our sunset, as we'll fall to under 12 hours on Sunday. High temperatures on Saturday will climb to just about 52 degrees into Anchorage, so near average. 50 into Seward to just around 48 into Valdez as we stay into those 40s. Our Sunday forecast will show some breaking of the cloud cover, so some good news as we'll stay just around average again, and we'll continue to just talk about some scattered showers, so might get the possibility to see some sunshine, but overall gloominess looks to persist into next week.
Does your heating and cooling system leave your home feeling like a dungeon? Maybe some rooms are too hot or too cold. Is the humidity too high or too dry? Maybe indoor air quality is polluted with irritants like mold or dust and pollen. Your friendly local Lennox dealer is ready with home comfort solutions. More heating and air conditioning can improve your home's air quality. For real home comfort solutions, call More today. Lennox, air is life. Make it perfect.
One of the greatest things that I like about First National is the smaller town feel, that it is more of a relationship-based. Reaching 100 years is an amazing milestone. I hope to see my business grow and continue doing operations for a long, long time.
First National Bank Alaska, 100 years shaping tomorrow.
In the wilds of Africa, gorillas are renowned for being very strong and also very gentle.
In South Central, Green Gorilla Movers have earned the reputation for being strong but very gentle with furniture and belongings. They'll treat your possessions as if they were their own. Plus, they keep a flexible schedule to make your move as convenient as possible. Need to move, but your new home isn't quite ready? No problem. Green Gorilla has short-term storage available. Call Green Gorilla Movers and save some greenbacks on your next move.
The 2022 Mazda CX-9. Now with standard iActive all-wheel drive. It's nimble, it's intuitive, it's a 3-row CUV that doesn't drive like one.
Doctors are coming together to warn parents about the risks of marijuana use for teens' mental health, saying that use of the drug by those with underlying mental illness could exacerbate the condition. Alani Latang has more.
Every day I treat patients who suffer from cannabis use disorder.
We want to make sure that parents and youth are making informed decisions and understand the risks.
Doctors laying out the relationship between marijuana use and youth mental health. They warn cannabis use is a suicide risk factor for people under the age of 25, adding that cannabis use disorder and daily cannabis use were associated with suicidal thoughts, plans, or attempts in people 18 to 35 years old with or without underlying major depression. The FDA is slapping on a warning for people with psychiatric history to avoid even prescription-level THC.
People who have a mental illness can exacerbate their condition by using THC.
Experts warn that THC is also getting stronger. The Department of Justice found that the average potency level in marijuana has increased from 8.9% to 17.1% between 2008 to 2017. One parent taking notice of that for his oldest son.
It's often the start of a descent into a living hell.
The parent says his son got a pilot's license at 17, had academic goals, but quickly became addicted to vaping.
And then things got worse. He abandoned college after one semester, moved back home, smoked nonstop, alienated himself from his friends, spent all his money and much of ours, and became truly psychotic.
Doctors warn the high-potency THC out there is a risk factor for developing psychosis in youth.
And it can become permanent, even in young people who have no underlying mental illness.
Experts also advise not to shy away from substance use conversations, to instead have the discussion early and often with youth.
To be honest and open with your healthcare provider. If you do suspect use and your child is having a mental health issue, it's really important to have that conversation. Don't think that you're weird.
Our son is slowly getting better. Despite 9 months without weed and the same time working a full-time job.
The pandemic helped usher in a resurgence of vinyl records, and their popularity just continues to skyrocket. But the process to make vinyl is proving hazardous to the environment, with the concoction of synthetic materials needed for production. Marianne Rafferty has a special look at one company's green approach to making a more sustainable vinyl alternative.
Vinyl records continue exploding in popularity, with music analytics company MRC Data reporting 41.7 million vinyls sold across the U.S. last year alone, more than a 50% increase from 2020. But it turns out vinyl has a dark side.
The production of vinyl is toxic in very many ways. There are all kinds of processes in it that are damaging to the environment.
To help us satisfy our craze for vinyl, but lower its negative environmental impacts, British-based company Evolution Music is unveiling its sugar-based bioplastic vinyl alternative.
We found organic fillers and organic master batch, so we've got a unique recipe.
According to company officials, their eco-friendly formula can be used to create new records on the same machines major album manufacturers already own, meaning the production of bioplastic records won't completely disrupt assembly lines. Music industry experts and climate activists say there's no better time to make the switch.
We know what the problem is and we know how to solve it. We just need the will and the investment to do it.
And heads at Evolution Music say the arts and entertainment sector is one of the best
front of innovation. Of course they should. And typically that's where cultural change is what affects political and social change.
Evolution Music is continuing with its research to make slight adjustments to the sound quality of bioplastic records, but says once a major recording artist decides to use their formula for their album, the rest of the industry should follow suit. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Still ahead, Boeing pays up, plus some sneaky parents are finding ways to cut costs at Disney World. Those stories and more coming up.
Raven, Alaska, soaring to new heights. Over the past year, Raven has been providing reliable passenger and cargo service, growing to 13 communities, from Dutch Harbor to Unalakleet, including Anchorage. We offer charter service to any Alaska destination with acceptable landing conditions. Whether it's business, pleasure, or a little of both, we welcome you aboard. Book your next flight at ravenalaska.com. We call Alaska home.
Coming to Anchorage? The place to stay is the Alex Hotel and Suites. We're just a short free shuttle ride away from the airport. Our friendly staff is committed to making you feel at home. Guests enjoy a free deluxe continental breakfast. Our restaurant now serves dinner and lunch from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. For the hunters and fishers, the Alex Hotel has a large walk-in freezer. Groups are welcome, and we accept Medicaid. Your gateway to Anchorage, the Alex Hotel and Suites.
Christmas Cantata, an enjoyable event for the entire family and Christmas masterpiece praised by 1 million people worldwide. The Gracias Choir, first prize winner of the world's most prestigious International Choral Festival Award, is known for its masterpieces in opera, musical, and choir's vivid, unforgettable Christmas moments. We invite you to feel the importance and warmth of your family.
The packaging store, moving center. You got things over here that need to be over there. How do you do that with tender love and care? Well, we pack it, wrap it, put it on a pallet, so you don't have to worry about it. The packaging store, moving center. We make shipping more valuable. The packaging store, moving center.
Live streaming of your local newscasts on youralaskaLink.com is sponsored by LFS Marine and Outdoor on 63rd. LFS, your boating and fishing DIY superstore.
When you vape, you can inhale toxic metals like nickel and lead into your lungs. That's metal in your lungs. Don't be fooled.
This is home, ABC Alaska. This is home, ABC Alaska.
Boeing pays up, plus why car buyers are paying well above sticker price. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
Boeing agreeing to pay $200 million to settle charges from the Securities and Exchange Commission that they misled the public about the safety of the 737 MAX following two fatal crashes in 2018 and 2019. Former CEO Dennis Muhlenberg will also pay $1 million. Boeing says it has made changes across the company in response to the 737 MAX crashes, including improving its safety processes and transparency. Jeep fans paying through the nose to get the keys on the new two-door Jeep Wrangler. Buyers are paying almost 25% above list price to get one. That comes out to more than $8,000 extra. The sticker shock is due to high demand and supply shortages. Thrifty parents are coming up with new ways to cut costs at Disney World. Videos posted online show parents sneaking older children into the park in baby strollers. Prices for a single-day Disney park ticket now climbing to nearly $160. And Apple Music set to take over as sponsor of this year's Super Bowl halftime show. Apple taking over sponsorship from Pepsi, who had its name on the halftime show for the past 10 years. Over 120 million viewers watched last year's halftime show. This year's big game kicks off February 12th in Glendale, Arizona. And it's on Fox. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
A new study says sitting may impact a woman's chance of developing breast cancer. Researchers in Australia examined data from more than 185,000 women in the UK, which included their sitting time and their amount of physical activity using wrist trackers. The study showed those who were more physically active had a 41% lower risk of invasive breast cancer. It also showed a link between high levels of sitting time and a greater risk of developing breast cancer. Escalating drug use in the wake of last year's record number of deadly overdoses has health officials on red alert. Besides illegal drugs, cigarette use is also generating concern, especially in rural communities. Sean Langeal has the latest on that, plus why giving rewards to recovering addicts could help them to stay sober.
One pill of these substances can kill you.
Combating a surge in drug use and deadly overdoses continues to be a top priority for healthcare officials nationwide.
The trend that is generating a lot of discussion right now is the increase in fatal drug overdoses, a number that exceeded 100,000 over 12 months for the first time back in June of 2021.
With opioids like fentanyl elevating the risk for death, especially for a growing number of Native Americans and African American men, according to a new study published in the journal JAMA Network. The escalating crisis triggering calls for communities to increase the availability of Narcan, an emergency overdose reversal treatment.
Administer the Narcan into one nostril. You want to wait 2 to 3 minutes to see if that person is breathing.
But opioids aren't the only concern. Health experts are also citing worrisome disparities between rural and urban cigarette smokers.
There's increased morbidity and mortality in rural versus urban communities. And also, there's a higher smoking prevalence in rural versus urban communities, which has increased over the past decade.
Attributing the higher rate to lack of healthcare services available to them to help them quit.
We found that quit ratios in rural areas over the 2010 to 2020 period were 7% lower than urban areas.
But when it comes to quitting substances, a number of addiction centers are finding that rewarding users with things like candy or gift cards can give them motivation to stay drug-free as they receive treatment, thanks to a technique called contingency management. Sean Langeal, Fox News.
Stay with us. We'll have more right after this.
Hi, this is Ted from Mattress Ranch, and I just woke up from a great night's sleep. Want one? Come to Mattress Ranch.
Save more bucks at the Mattress Ranch.
A federal investigation found Kelly Chewbacca overbilled taxpayers for 596 hours as a government employee, and you paid for it. Her excuse? She was engaging in fitness activities. In all the hours she overbilled us, Chewbacca could have hiked all the way from Juneau to Fairbanks and all the way back. Now she wants to be senator? Go take a hike, Kelly. The United Association is responsible for the content of this ad.
Why am I here?
We're here to talk about your problem.
Problem? What problem? Mom, it's your hair.
1,000 bad hair days in a row is a problem.
Please get help.
From simple cuts to colors to complete makeovers for women and men, at True Colors Hair Design, we have the tools and hair professionals to help. Call now. Do it for the children.
Come to True Colors because when you look good, you feel delicious.
In Alaska, we do things our own way. Some Alaskans launch boats before ever driving a car. Others take courses and start families while growing businesses. As you look ahead, Credit Union One is ready to help. We'll meet you where you are to help you see where you can go. Credit Union One is your window into what's next.
This Sunday, join us for Kids Church at 9:30 and 11 a.m. at ABT.
Hi, this is Ted from Mattress Ranch. Why go to Mattress Ranch? Price, product, and quality and availability today.
Save more bucks at the Mattress Ranch.
This is home, ABC Alaska.
We want to leave you with a smile. Pepsi is out with 3 new flavors that are a take on an American favorite. The Pepsi S'mores collection includes 3 different flavors. You can guess them: toasty marshmallow, graham cracker, and chocolate. People can drink them separately or mix them together to get the full taste of a s'more. But to try the drinks, you have to win. The company says 2,000 people will be selected from Pepsi Instagram or Twitter followers who share an image or a description of how they s'more. Users have until September 27th, and they must use the hashtags Pepsi S'mores and sweepstakes. Thanks for watching. I'm Trill Gates, and I'll see you later with some more news. Had to say it.